Your journey to Université Laval starts here. Obtain your study permit. International applicants who want to study in Quebec in a study or exchange program lasting more than 6 months must obtain a study permit. There are a few exceptions. Visit the Government of Canada website to find out if you need a study permit. Once you have received the attestation of issuance of your CAQ, you can apply for a study permit on the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada website. Your study permit will indicate the name of your learning institution. Therefore, it is important to use your Université Laval offer of admission for your application. You will need to apply and pay the required fees in your IRCC secure account. There is an instruction guide available on the IRCC website, and our own website has detailed information on how to apply for a study permit. Here is a summary. Required documents. The following documents are required to apply for a study permit: your passport, an ID photo, your offer of admission from Université Laval, your CAQ, or its electronic attestation of issuance, your provincial attestation letter, also called the PAL, or proof of exception if you are exempt. If not, you will need to provide your CAQ again, recent proof of your financial support, information about your family, and, in some cases, proof of your medical exam and your study plan. Certain additional documents may be required depending on your nationality or country of residence. You can find this information in the country-specific application packet on the IRCC website. The application form. You will need to download and fill out Form IMM 1294, application for a study permit made outside of Canada. To fill out the form, you will need to open it in Adobe Acrobat Reader. You will need Université Laval's designated learning institution number, which starts with the letter O. Once you have filled out the form, you will need to validate it, which will generate barcodes. Next, save it and upload it to your application. This form does not need to be signed. Proof of financial support. You must demonstrate that you have enough money to support you for your first year of study in Canada. You need enough money to cover tuition fees, transportation costs, 1 year of health and hospitalization insurance, and $15,508 in living expenses for one person. You must be able to prove that you can cover all these costs without relying on a student job. You may also need to show the source of these funds. To prove your financial capacity, you can provide bank statements for the past 6 months showing regular deposits and withdrawals, proof of a scholarship, proof of a student loan issued by a bank, proof of regular income, a guaranteed investment certificate, also called a GIC, from a participating financial institution, a receipt for payment of tuition fees for your first year of study. If someone other than you is covering all or part of the costs of your studies in Canada, you will need to provide a dated and signed declaration of financial support from that person, as well as proof of their income and personal savings. You will also need to explain your relationship to that person. If this person is not your mother or father, you must provide proof that they will honor the commitment. Your biometric data. You must provide your biometric data for your study permit application to be processed. After submitting your application, you will receive an instruction letter. It will tell you which visa application center to go to in order to have your biometric data collected. You will have 30 days to do so. Additional documents. Depending on your situation, additional documents may be required. Medical exam. You may need to undergo a medical exam for immigration. For example, you will need an exam if you have lived in certain countries for more than 6 months in the past year, or if you want to work with certain groups, like children or seniors, as part of an internship. Visit the IRCC website to see the list of countries. The medical examination must be performed by an IRCC-designated doctor. If you wish, you can shorten the processing time for your study permit application by undergoing a medical exam before you apply. You can also wait for IRCC to ask you to undergo the medical exam after you have submitted your application. Study plan. This document may be required by the Canadian Visa Office in your country of residence or nationality. We also recommend that you provide it if you currently reside in a country other than your country of citizenship, have already been denied a study permit, are changing fields of study, or are returning to school after a few years on the labor market. The study plan is a roughly 2-page letter describing your study intentions. It needs to be precise, factual, and neatly presented. The information should be specific to you. Avoid general statements that could apply to anyone. Among other things, you must state why you have chosen to study at Université Laval in this program of study, why you are not pursuing a similar program of study in your home country, the education and career goals that justify the time and expense of coming to Canada to study, and your social and economic ties with your home country. If you have already spent time in an OECD country, you can also mention this. See the list of OECD countries at OECD's website. The study plan must show the authorities that you are coming to Canada solely to study, and that, if you do not have the required authorizations, after your studies, you will be willing and able to leave Canada to work and lead a comfortable life back in your home country. You can provide several supporting documents for your study plan, such as a letter from your employer, proof of your ties to your home country, and copies of entry and exit visas and stamps from OECD member countries. Think carefully about which documents to include in your application. You do not want it to be overly large or complex. Co-op work permit. If your program of study includes a mandatory internship, you must obtain a co-op work permit. There is no cost to apply for this permit, and you can apply at the same time as your study permit. When filling out your application, you will need to indicate that you are required to work as part of your studies. You will then have to provide the offer of admission, which will state that an internship is a mandatory part of your program of study. A co-op work permit is not required for student jobs. Processing times. The processing time for a study permit application varies depending on the country. It begins once you have provided your biometric data. Processing times change constantly. You can expect to wait several weeks or even a few months before receiving a response to your application. Entry authorizations. Depending on your country of citizenship, you will need either an electronic travel authorization, also called an ETA, or a temporary resident visa, also called a TRV. These authorizations are issued automatically with the study permit. The ETA is issued when the study permit is approved and is electronically linked to your passport. That means you need to make sure to travel with the same passport you used for your study permit application. Meanwhile, for the TRV, you will need to follow IRCC's instructions and mail in your passport so that the visa can be added. Expect this process to take a few weeks. Once your study permit is approved, a letter of introduction will be added to your IRCC account. Please wait for this confirmation before making any major commitments, such as buying plane tickets or renting an apartment. This letter is not your study permit. You will need to show it to a border services officer when you arrive in Canada at the first airport of arrival. This is when your study permit will be issued. Before leaving the Canada Border Services Agency zone, take the time to check the information on your study permit. Make sure that your personal information is correct, that Université Laval is named, and that the notes on the right to work are included. Visit ulaval.ca/hen/immigration for more detailed information about the immigration process. In the next video, we will look at preparations for coming to Canada, as well as the conditions of your stay. Thank you for watching.